The knife in the shoe, just such a badass.
Well,
yeah.
okay. The
Terrible.
knife in the shoe works for the frail old woman. But when you have the big Russian guy walk in with a fucking scar on his face, and he pulls a little knife out of his shoe,
and his
it's
feet
kind
are
of
like
weird.
that far apart.
Like, it looks silly, especially when, like, Clem is at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Is just, like, hobbling around with her fucking knife shoe and trying to
I
stab
actually
Bond.
really pity her. Every time I watch the movie, I actually feel really
Holding
bad
over
for
the
her.
chair.
She is Frau
So
Verbissina,
small.
right? That's where Frau Verbissina came from. But she's very tough and crazy the whole time, and then in that moment, she is out of her element physically, and she's absolutely f***ed, and I actually really pity her. Now, at least Bond didn't grab her by the throat and rip it out. You know, they gave that privilege to Romanova to go ahead and cap this bitch. But let me reiterate what I said about our Bond girls, where Ursula Andress is a f***ing badass. And anybody who knows me knows that I can't stand the fact that every movie has to be politicized, where it's, this movie stars a woman, and finally, we have a movie that stars a woman, and not just a woman, but a strong woman, and it completely f***ing purposely forgets the fact that we've had strong women in film forever. Like, from the f***ing outset of movies, we've had strong women. And look at this one. Look at this example. Not just Ursula Andress coming out of the ocean and pulling her knife on everybody, but you have the gypsy women who literally tear each other to pieces, and then they end up having a threesome with Bond.
A literal cat fight. They emphasize that. Like,
Yes.
ha!
And then you have Kleb, who is a badass in her own way, and she goes out fighting.
Espionage.
And then you have Romanova, who literally saves James Bond's life in two different ways. Yeah. She tackles her boss, throwing the gun on the floor. Then she picks up the gun and shoots her.
Yeah.
Every single woman in this movie is a badass, and still today people will be like, "Oh, it doesn't count."
Like, they're definitely
that doesn't matter.
They're definitely still heavily sexualized, but you're right. Like, they also have a lot of agency.
If you don't think
have a
James
lot of
Bond is
badass.
heavily sexualized, James Bond doesn't have to take his clothes. He does take his clothes off regularly. The motherfucker is sexy. I mean, women don't really get off seeing
how many
naked
short
men
shorts
in
have
the
we
same
seen
way
Bond
that
in
men
already?
men get off seeing naked women. Again,
Quite a
that's
few.
why the opening title sequences of these movies typically have naked women and fully clothed men. Women maybe like a guy's shirt coming off, but women don't like to see dicks as much as men like to see tits. And that's just the way it is. We all know that.
You hear women always talk nowadays, because it's a lost art, that goddamn men look good in a suit when they dress up properly.
Yeah.
That was just standardized back then.
Right now, I'm going to take a shot of Bond sitting at the casino, and I'm going to put it next to Ursula coming out of the ocean. Right? Those are equally sexy in two different ways. Right?
Exactly.
Men want to see the woman
Men
already
dressed
undressed.
well.
Women want to see him after he's put his clothes back on.
Can I divulge into saying that I think for some weird reason I find that the neck, I don't even know what you call that necklace thing that she wears, I just find that sexy. What is that called? They talk about it in the film. They're like,
I meant to write it down, but that little.
They make such a big deal about it, but for some weird
is
reason,
sexy.
It is. You give women like a little neck
sexy.
thing, and I'm like, that's kind of hot. I don't know why.
It's a
It
choker,
just is.
McCurdy.
I think especially on a Russian woman.
Exactly.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know?